Hey guys, it's Chloe, Afar's Associate Editor of Destinations. One of my favorite parts about the job is finding those lesser-known places that travelers should put on their radar. And for me, Mexico is one of the best countries for finding them. I've traveled all around the country, and no surprise, my most enriching experiences have not been at an all-inclusive in Cancun. So if you're kind of over the hordes of tourists, and honestly nowadays, who isn't, I've got 5 tips for getting away from the crowds in Mexico. Mexico's small towns are, in my humble opinion, some of the most underrated places to visit. They're called pueblos and they're spread all throughout the country. The government even has around 175 or so of them that they deem pueblos mágicos, which translates to magic towns in Spanish. These are towns that the government deems especially beautiful, charming, historic, aka definitely worth a visit. I visited a few of these pueblos mágicos myself, and I love how they give such a strong sense of community. For example, I'll never forget visiting Valladolid in the Yucatan Peninsula. I was in a jewelry shop and the customer in front of me totally forgot to pay. By the time this shopkeeper realized, he just kind of looked at me, shrugged, and said, well, I'll find a way to get payment from him next week. Needless to say, this is not the kind of interaction that you'd expect in a big city. There's a good chance you missed out on the best places to get food in Mexico. If you really want to get the good stuff, head to a mercado the next time you visit a city or town. There are these big buildings where people come and buy local produce or food of the region. At Oaxaca's Mercado 20 de Noviembre, for example, you can get tortillas topped with meat, beans, vegetables known as tlayudas at one stand, and roasted grasshoppers at the next. It'll definitely be a more memorable experience than margaritas at a touristy restaurant. So we've all been to a pretty beach, but have you ever gone swimming in a sinkhole? Throughout the Yucatan Peninsula, there are a ton of these natural sinkholes known as cenotes that travelers have the opportunity to swim in. You can book a cenote tour online, but I honestly recommend asking around and speaking to locals. When you talk to them, you can learn about some lesser-known cenotes because honestly, some of them are just off the beaten path. But if you are convinced that you want to do a beach-esque activity, I still recommend that you stay away from the Cancuns and Tulums and go somewhere smaller. When I was in Bacalar, for example, I saw the Lagoon of 7 Colors, which was this really cool place where soil, sunlight, and other factors create an effect where you can see a ton of different colors in the water. This one's for my cruisers out there. It's no secret that ports like Cozumel and Puerto Vallarta can feel a little tourist trappy sometimes. Instead, look into trips that disembark at smaller ports for more authentic experiences. Cabo Pulmo in Baja California Sur is a great example, as it's home to one of the continent's oldest reefs. Puerto Chiapas in the Southern Pacific is another great one, as you can see some lesser-known Mayan ruins over there. Cruise lines with smaller ships and more adventure-focused itineraries like Lindblad Expeditions and Holland American Line are going to be your best bet for finding these smaller ports. Time your trip with a local festival and you can get an experience that not a lot of other tourists see. A quick Google search and you can find festivals like the Noche de Rábanos in Oaxaca on December 23rd, where people display artwork made out of radishes. Or go to the Fiesta de la Candelaria in Tlacotalpan, a town by the Gulf of Mexico. During the celebration, people listen to a special kind of guitar folk music known as San Jorocho, which mixes Spanish, African, and indigenous culture. I hope this video gets you thinking of all the different ways you can get off the tourist trail in Mexico, because trust me, it is so worth it. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. And if you want to get notified when we share more places and more ways to get off the tourist trail, remember to hit that subscribe button. Happy travels!